15 years of buying silver and gold has taught me this. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Empire Precious Metals. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure you blast that subscribe button and get the bell notification clicked. That way you get updated with any new content. Today I wanted to talk about essentially what I've learned over the last 15 years when it comes to stacking silver and gold. Now, part of this also has to do with the selling of silver and gold, but it essentially can apply to just about everybody. Those of you that are familiar with the channel know that I have a business of buying and selling precious metals. I do this on social media as well as on my website, empirepreciousmetals.com. But essentially, the things that I've learned when it comes to actually stacking physical silver and gold have essentially changed the way I save and the way that I stack. And I know that a lot of these things apply to several people within the stacking community. I know this from comments that I read, videos I've seen, and essentially comments that people have sent me directly, either through DM or email. So I'm going to go over essentially 10 to 11 different things that I've learned, which may apply to you. The one thing that I would say is that strategies change. When you get into stacking silver and gold, you essentially will start thinking about silver and gold in one particular way. A lot of people tend to get into stacking silver and gold through the lens of trying to stack the most amount of silver and gold that they can for the cheapest amount possible. That's a very good, sound way to get into stacking. But oftentimes what happens is people start getting bored. They start getting essentially looking at the same stuff over and over and over again. It gets stale, so they start getting into collectibles. A lot of people also will get into silver primarily first, and then they kind of eventually move into gold, almost as if silver is like a gateway drug into gold. Your strategies will change, whether it is because you've got different financial goals, whether you're going to be buying a house or you're getting ready for a family, or you have children and then you need to start setting some money aside for them in 529 plans or what have you, and you have to pull back on your silver and gold. The amount that you stack is always going to change most of the time. When it comes to stacking amounts, the one thing I would say is that make sure that you are stacking consistently over the course, I would say over a course of several years, because you want to be able to dollar cost average. But when it comes to stacking amounts, make sure you are putting aside a specific amount each month, almost like a budget, right? Whether it's, a couple $100 or even $50, whatever it is, you want to be always stacking a little bit each month. I have seen people get into stacking when they are buying with the fear of missing out, and what happens is that they are buying at highs and they end up essentially getting underwater on their investment. The third thing I would say is don't get too attached to your collection. A lot of people buy silver and gold and essentially don't sell any of it whatsoever, and they get real attached to their items, collectible items, just regular run-of-the-mill gold or silver. They get really attached. They have a very difficult time of letting go. And what I would say to you is make sure that you don't get attached. If you must have a particular coin, keep in mind that one day you may have to sell that particular coin. So maybe buy two of the coin. That way you have one to always save in your deep stack, or you have, you have that extra one that you could just sell. But from the years that I have been buying and selling, I've realized that essentially almost everything can be replaced. Now, that doesn't mean that you can replace like very low mintage items, because once you sell these particular coins, they end up becoming very expensive. I'm going to try to find one in here specifically, like something like this. Let me move this over to the side here. Get out of the way, Flash Gordon. Okay, like something like this. Okay, you essentially can buy this for a couple $100 over spot when it first comes out, but because of the limited mintage, this is like the Chinese mythical creatures, they are very expensive now. So, but most items essentially can be replaced very easily, right? So just like your gold bulls, silver eagles, things like that, you could easily replace them. So just keep that in mind, right? Silver and gold is very liquid. That's the other thing that you should keep in mind, is that aside from everything being very replaceable, everything is very liquid. There are a ton of different avenues in which you can sell your silver and gold. You could be coin shops, pawn shops, we buy gold places, jewelers. It could be on social media groups, eBay. I mean, there's a wide range of different ways in which you can sell your silver and gold. And so when I'm saying don't get too attached, and that the fact that gold and silver is very liquid, you can easily buy and sell if you need money. There are just so many different paths in which you can actually sell your silver and gold. So when I say don't get too attached, not only is silver and gold very liquid in that you can sell it easily, but oftentimes you can buy it very easily as well. When it comes to stacking silver, I was actually getting ready for one of my auctions. The one thing I would say is that people love Libertads. If I knew about Libertads when I started getting into stacking silver and gold, I probably would have bought just Libertads and not American Silver Eagles. The Libertads, you were able to get them very, very cheaply. And now the premiums on these, especially the 1982s, the first year of release, these are quite expensive. Silver Eagles, they're expensive too, but they're a dime a dozen. Yes, Silver Libertads also have been minted out the wazoo, but again, just people have a thing for Mexican silver and gold. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the design, whatever, but people love it. When it comes to also buying silver and gold, I would say avoid the dealer's choice sales. What I mean by this is I recently purchased some gold off of a website, and it was very, very cheap. I should have known why. It said gold coins of their choice. And I figured, oh, okay, maybe I'll get a Britannia or Maple Leafs or something like that, right? They had pictures of like the most common gold coins. And instead, I ended up getting these crummy gold coins that our Canadian Special Forces had a very difficult time selling them. I had to sell them at spot. So I would say beware. Be very careful. Be cautious of the deals that say dealer's choice. Just, I would say, essentially pay a little bit more, buy what you want, forget those grab bag type of things, and just buy what you want. Also, along the same lines there of like avoiding those dealer type deals and sales, I'd say avoid pre-sale items. The reason I say avoid pre-sale items is because essentially you are putting out your money to the dealers, and sometimes these dealers will take that money and use it to actually manufacture your items. You should, I would say, just hold off. Wait until the items are actually in stock. Sometimes you would have to pay a little bit more of a premium, but that's okay because you know that the item is in stock. I've had far too many situations where I have shelled out thousands of dollars for items and they were just in the pre-sale phase of like up to 6 weeks. Then it takes couple weeks for the manufacturing and then another couple weeks for shipping in some cases. One of the companies in particular that this happened with was Scottsdale Mint. I remember they were doing a pre-sale not too long ago. Actually, one that I bought maybe a couple of years ago, but I remember having to wait a very long time. May have been around the pandemic, but more recently they were selling these lucky silver bars, these 8.88 ounce Silver Dragon poured bars at pre-sale. I avoided it like the plague. Also, I would say be very careful buying overseas. You want to be very cautious when it comes to buying anything overseas. Now, there are some reputable companies like LPM and New Zealand Mint. They are reputable companies. However, the problem that you might face is when it comes to customs. Sometimes your stuff, depending on the amount that you buy, can get seized and be held up in essentially purgatory until you pay all these different fees, which essentially are taxes. And it could really hurt your bottom line when it comes to those items. If you're dollar cost averaging, that's going to really throw off your dollar cost average. If you're looking to buy these things and sell them for a profit, that's going to really eat into those profits, and if not, make them more of a liability, if anything. So I would say pony up, pay a little bit more, buy from reputable dealers here in the United States. Those of you that are watching this video from the United States, I'm talking about this from a United States standpoint. But buy those items here. They're going to be a little bit more money, but you know that they have them in stock, that they already went through customs, and that there shouldn't be any problems. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Do not hop right into stacking, and do not hop right into selling. There have been a lot of people who get pulled into the vortex of silver and gold stacking channels here on YouTube, and they end up seeing what a lot of different stackers have been able to accomplish when it comes to building their stacks. And they get very, very eager, and they end up buying a lot of silver and a lot of gold very, very quickly, which I have always advised against over the course of the 4.5 years that I've had this channel. I have always said long and steady wins the race. So a lot of these people, they get all gung-ho, they buy silver, they buy gold, they buy a lot of it, and then what happens? Prices dip down. Now they're underwater. And oftentimes I've seen other YouTube content creators see channels doing auctions like mine and others on YouTube who have been doing it for years, and they have had their channels very, very briefly, and they say, you know what, I'm going to get into selling silver and gold before they even really built an audience or built any sort of trust. They get into selling silver and gold, and what happens? They get their asses handed to them. It's because you haven't developed that relationship with the viewers over the course of several years to become trusted. You don't have the connections when it comes to wholesale. You don't have the relationships necessarily built up with various coin shops and other content creators and sellers and groups on social media. That being said, if you're thinking about getting into buying and selling silver and gold, I advise you to take your time and do your research, because if you don't do your research and you get impatient and you want to make money now, it doesn't work that way. It's a patience game. So keep that in mind. All right, what is that? That's like, I don't know, it's like 9 things. I have a couple more items. Bars are harder to sell than coins. When it comes to buying silver and gold, you want to make sure that you are looking at paying a little bit more of a premium, but buy coins. This is my opinion, but this is also coming from 4.5 years of experience in buying and selling silver and gold. People prefer government minted coins. It's a felony to essentially counterfeit money, and there's just safety precautions and safety features that are put into different silver and gold coins, and people just don't really seem to care that much for generic bars, especially when it comes to selling. You're going to end up really eating it when it comes to selling them, because the coin shops or whomever is going to buy it from you, they're going to offer you very little. They're going to offer you close to spot. They're going to offer you sometimes even lower than spot. They're not as desirable. Listen, if you're stacking for weight, I get it. Makes sense. You're trying to buy as cheap as possible, but keep in mind, when you're doing that, you are really tying your future sales to spot when it comes to buying generics. Okay, when you buy coins, you're paying a little bit more of a premium, but you also have the opportunity for these things to appreciate in value due to the collector's market. So definitely, in my opinion, coins are far better, especially semi-numismatic things such as like these coins that you see here are better than your run-of-the-mill maples and things like that. So I would say buy coins. In fact, I would say concentrate on semi-numismatics. And then the last thing I would say when it comes to buying and selling silver and gold, I would say if you are looking to get into buying silver and gold as a business, again, do your research. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes to registering your LLC, your company name, your URL, your website build, establishing yourself on social media, content creation. There's just a lot involved when it comes to silver and gold as a business. You have to do your research. Don't think about just jumping right in before you know what you're doing. That's the advice that I would give you. Anyway, anything that I left out in terms of lessons that maybe you have learned when it comes to stacking silver and gold over the last 5, 10, 15 years. I can't believe I've been doing this now. 15 years of stacking, 4.5 years of buying and selling and content creation. Oh my gosh, time flies. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below any tips or any lessons that you have learned. Let us know.